Today, I'm going to show you a new function for our Sage Intacct users. This function is called EXPANDGLHISTOry, and it gives you a list of all the accounts and dimensions that have activity or a balance over from a previous period. As you know, in Velixo, you can get a list of all your accounts by using the Insert Chart of Accounts button. This button simply adds the expand account range formula. This gives you all the accounts in the system, regardless of the current balance or if there was any activity in the selected period. You can use the hide 0 rows button right here in the toolbar to hide accounts that haven't had any activity. But if you also want to mix in dimensions and multiple locations, that can become quite tedious. And this is where that new function comes in really handy. Let's take a look. I'm going to add a date range, a location, and also a list of accounts that I'm interested in. So let's start with something simple. I will use all of 2019 for my primary location 100. So you can find the function by typing equal si as usual, and then expand GL history. Just like any other Excel function and all the Velixo functions, you can click on the function hyperlink to see full documentation as well as examples of how the function works. You may also use the insert function button in Excel and use the formula builder to build your formulas. So you will have high-level information on all the arguments. It's quite simple actually. Just follow me for next steps. First is the connection. Next, I'm going to select my account filter. So right now it says just star. That means all the accounts. We could have used an account group too. In this case, I'm just interested in all the different accounts. My start date, my end date, and finally, my location ID. Let's press done. And in no time, you will see a list of all the accounts and locations with activity or balance in the selected period. So in column A, you have the account code, and in column B, you have the location. But what's important here is that these are just accounts that have activity or balance. If you want to specify what the system looks at, you can also add an additional argument to the formula. So let's say balances to look at, and you're just interested in accounts that have a closing balance that is different than 0. So you can put the word closing here, and then back in that same formula where it says balance types to look at, you just reference that cell that says closing. You could also put closing in the formula directly. That would also work. So you can put opening, closing, turnover, and I believe also budget if you just care about accounts that have a budgeted value. Okay, so opening or closing, you can just put turnover. So this means any account with activity. It will give us a different list as well. And as you can see, let me zoom out here. It always refreshes dynamically. So let's say we are just looking at the first quarter, enter. That will be a different list. It's loading right now. So it's a smaller list. And if I look at a different location, it will also be a completely different list. Here we go. So far, so good. But again, this is something that could be achieved in earlier versions by just using the auto-hide 0 rows function. But now let's add dimensions into the mix, and this is where it will get really, really interesting. So let me add a section here, dimensions, okay, and dimensions like that. And let's start with the department dimension, okay? And I want to have all my departments. So let's just do that here. I'm going to go back to my formula, and where you see dimensions, I'm just going to select both cells. So the first column is the dimension name. It could be department, class, customer, project, or any other dimension that you have in your system. And the second column are the values that you want to look at. Okay, just click done. Now we have a third column, and that third column is the department column. So now what we have is a list of all the accounts with any activity, debit or credit, in the selected date range and location. Okay, so let's refine that further. Let's just focus on revenue and expense accounts. So right here, I'm going to enter my revenue and expense range. Let's do it like that. And now let's add total turnover for period. Turnover is debit minus credit. Okay, so let's do si.turnover, Sage. I have my account code right here, my start date, my end date, my location is here, and si.dimensions, Sage. I have the department dimension and this value here. Perfect, and that does give us a turnover for the period. So notice that the formula I added did not spill down to the other cell. That's because I didn't use the dynamic notation supported by Excel. And actually, I could definitely just copy that down, but I'm going to show you the proper way to do that. So instead of referencing columns A, B, and C directly, I'm going to reference that first cell here with the symbol hash or pound next to it. You can see that the selection changed instantly. So that's now referencing the entire table. In my case, I'm just interested in one column. So I can either use the index function or choose calls. And I do want to have column 1. For my location, I want column 2. And for the department, I want column 3. Remember, that's one big data table. Let's press enter and let's apply our currency formatting. And now this is truly dynamic, okay? So let's say I change that and now I'm only interested in 2 departments. Let's say department 200 and 300. That's going to update and my formula will adjust accordingly. So I just did it with the department dimension. Now let's try it with another dimension, the customer dimension. So let's go back to having all the departments listed. Let's change that to customer. But actually, before I change it to customer, I need to adjust this formula because here I have the word department directly. So let's reference this here. And now let's put customer, enter. It's loading. So now we have revenue by customer and the cost of goods sold as well for the selected period. By the way, if you want to get the customer name or the department name, we have functions for that. In this case, let's just get customer name, si.customer name, Sage, and the customer ID is again retrieved using choose calls. And we want column 3, enter. What did I do here? si.customer name, customer ID. That should work. Does it work? Yeah, it works with 1. Why not with 3? Okay, that's working. Probably had a typo earlier. So now we have all the customers and the associated revenue for each GL account. If you want, you can mix and match. You can have multiple dimensions too. I could have department and project. Let's try to do it by project here. Can I do project? Not sure I have much project data in this company. Project. That's loading. Here we go. Let's also add a second dimension. It is possible to use multiple dimensions with this tool. So let's add project and then department. I'm going to modify this here so that my dimensions, I'm getting 2 cells instead. now we might have more data. Oh, what did I do? Dimensions. Okay. I was just missing a comma. So it's loading. Most likely we will have a spill error because of that new column that now shows up. So you can see spill with that dotted box. That's the actual area that now our EXPANDGLHISTORY function needs. Let's click insert. And this is now the department and the project. So we would need to modify this as well to look at my other dimension, my department dimension here. Actually, no, that's G9. Department is in column 2, and project is in and 4. Hopefully I got this right. Now let's look at a different location. And we'll see everything refresh. Beautiful. So I invite you to review the documentation. There's far more to this function. It's very flexible. It also works with budget. If you have any suggestion, as usual, add to the Velixo community and we will be happy to help you. Cheers and have a great day.